you'll be okay. I know you were just possessed by Satan himself, but I would like to double check with you.
I'm sure. I promise. I'll figure this out in no time.
I nodded once before closing my eyes. I had to let him try. If all else failed, I could go to the others for help, but not unless it become dangerous. That seems like a bad plan, like waiting for everything to fuck up and blow in your face before you go to the others, but okay. Alright, sure. Still, something felt wrong with this entire situation. No, duh. First, there was something wrong with me, but now there was something wrong with Matthew? We had the worst luck. Okay. I expected the night to take me away into the world of slumber, but was quietly awoken by Simon poking my side with his knife. Fucking Simon. Someone needs to take that knife from you. What? I looked down at my side to see Simon waving his arms and pointing at the door, revealing it to be partially open with a familiar red eye peeking through it. Who the fuck's spying on us in our sleep? I stared, suddenly wide-eyed, but Diana didn't move from her spot, knowing I spotted her. Diana, girl, what you doing? Did she want me to go over there? Simon pulled at my hand, wanting me to go, so I snuck out of Matthew's arms and crept to the door, causing Diana to back away from it and give me the space needed to leave the room. Diana, I'm just gonna be honest, it's a little creepy. Next time you want to talk to me, maybe, just kind of be like, hey, wake up, just not just stand there and stare at me.
Is everything all right?
Well, I was sleeping. Huh? Where was this coming from? I furrowed my eyebrows. What do you mean? Diana pressed her lips together and looked into the room for a moment before looking back to me with a serious expression.
I was doing my usual routine around the castle, and felt somewhat of a disturbance in the air, like something was trying to make contact with someone here. It was a weak wave, but...
Well, Matthew either has split personalities or he is possessed by fucking Satan himself, and I'm having weird-ass nightmares. I mean, is that what you want to hear? I stared surprised. Someone was really trying to contact Matthew. I became overjoyed to know that it was simple enough. What? I became overjoyed? What? Diana tilted her head at me, seeing my expression. Why the fuck would you be happy about this? Someone is telepathically talking to me and my boyfriend, and, I have multiple dreams about him every night fucking being a jackass.
What?
Okay.
Did something happen?
Before I opened my mouth to speak, however, Matthew's plea echoed in my head. He wanted me to trust him. If I told Diana, I'd ruin his trust for me. God, fuck. I merely bit my lip, shaking my head. Okay, but there's a difference between trusting him and not wanting him to die, or for me to die, or we'll just lie. No, I'm just surprised is all. Diana raised an eyebrow at me, but I didn't budge. I didn't want to be the one to say anything until Matthew needed me to. Despite it fighting against every moral code in my body, I had to put some trust in Matthew. Eventually, Diana nodded before turning to leave.
I apologize for disturbing your sleep. Please, have a good night.
Thanks. I'll probably have another fucking nightmare, I'm sure. With that, Diana left me alone in the hall. I stared, mildly flabbergasted. That's a big word. At the fact that she simply let it go. However, would she look into it more? I had to admit, I hoped so. I feel like so far this game's a lot of nightmares, and sleeping. And bad things. I returned to Matthew's arms at night, hoping that everything would be okay. More sleeping. Jesus Christ. The morning was unkind as I woke and yawned, feeling drowsiness as I still tried to consume my mind and force it back to sleep. I'm having a horrible time reading right now. However, I had to train today, and so did Matthew. Speaking of Matthew, I turned my head to see Matthew rubbing his eyes, waking up alongside me. However, his grumble let me know that the night was not kind to him. Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I can't see a fucking window, so I don't know. I'm just assuming at this point. We still got that fire going. We had that fire going all night. I'm surprised we didn't fucking burn in our sleep. God damn it. I nodded and gently leaned down, kissing Matthew's forehead. That seemed to lighten his mood as a happy smile danced across his lips and he let out a happy sigh. Yeah, morning. Mwah. Morning, that's what I just said. I smiled as I hovered over Matthew's face, seeing his beautiful blue eyes gaze into my eyes through the blur of sleep. With a sweet, infectious smile, Matthew reached a hand up and cupped my cheek.
You're so pretty. You know that?
Oh, thanks, Matthew. I mean, I guess. I probably don't look that great. I just woke up, but it's so nice you think that. I fought a blush creeping up on my face. The way you said it so casually made my heart flutter and had me forgetting about the world around us. It was like we were on our own little universe. Yep. Super sweet. I nuzzled his hand and giggled. I didn't want the day to roll on to us getting ready to separate and train just yet. I wanted to sit back with Matthew and enjoy our time alone. No problems, no danger, just us. Okay. Matthew grew a small smirk before snaking his arms around me and pulling me against his chest. Okay, I'm feeling a little weird right now. Making me gasp and grab onto his shoulders, not wanting to crush him with my weight. Girl, you know what? Not wanting to crush him with your weight? I really don't think you weigh that much, but I mean, I guess I don't really know. However, Matthew smiled and squeezed me close.
No nightmare last night, huh?
I guess not. As he said it, I realized it. There was indeed no nightmare for me last night. I had a peaceful, dreamless night. I suddenly smiled and looked down at Matthew with a happy nod. Yeah, no nightmares. I had a good sleep. Matthew chuckled before leaning up and kissing me softly, just enough for me to feel it. As he pulled away, I became curious about his own night. What about you? Matthew's smile faltered a bit as I asked, but shook his head slightly and gained his smile back.
It was rough. I woke up a couple of times, but that was pretty much it.
Aw, man, I'm sorry to hear that, Matthew. There was more to the story, but I had to let it go. If he wanted me to trust him, then I had to, with the full extent of my heart. I nodded and planted a light feather-like kiss on his nose, making him chuckle beneath his breath. Lots of kisses going on. So, what's the plan for you?
Well, I figured I could skip some training and just spend some time with you.
Okay. What? With a playful smirk, I grabbed the nearby pillow and gently bounced it on him, making him flail a bit.
Hey!
What the fuck? Oh, this is adorable. You know training is important, Matthew. Matthew smirked and rolled us both over to have him on top of me, bouncing his own pillow on me. This is going in a direction, I feel it.
I can totally train with you in a never-ending pillow
God.
fight.
Matthew, you're too adorable with your shit. Oh, it was on! I'm gonna fuck you up with this pillow, Matthew. I quickly grabbed my pillow and swung it at Matthew, landing on target and causing him to roll off of me. With a grin, I arched my back in the opposite direction, hoping to land another hit on him, but Matthew quickly ducked and swung his pillow at me, hitting me with a soft, fluffy impact.
Gotcha!
I need more pillow fights in my life, honestly. Everyone does. The battle became intense as soon we were double-fisting pillows. Double-fisting pillows? What the fuck? Trying to whack each other with our chosen weapons while also avoiding the fireplace, the bench, and truly anything that looked expensive around the room. Everything looks expensive in this room. Even that fucking... the pillows you're using right now to destroy each other, those are probably expensive. Regardless, we were immersed in our own world, duking it out with feathers and cloth as we lost track of time. What the fuck? We barely even noticed the door open. Oh god.
What's going on in...
Nothing. Just pillow fights. As Diana's voice rang through the air, I gasped in surprise and looked over to see the succubus holding 2 plates with stacks of pancakes on them. Seriously? Why does everyone bring our food to us? Like, is there not a dining hall? Like, for real, though. What just happened right now? What? What frightened me and Diana was a sudden knife chucking itself in Diana's direction, causing her to sidestep and letting the knife rake through a stack, effectively nailing the... What the fuck, Matthew? Was that you? Whoa!
Hey!
Matthew, what the hell, man? We were just having fun! Diana and I looked at Matthew, seeing him panting and posed in mid-throw. His eyes flashed back and forth between gold and blue, glaring hard at Diana, most likely in surprise from her sudden entrance. Okay, I think this whole keeping it a secret thing is not working, Matthew. And once again, I was taken away from my fantasy and brought back to reality. Alright. Diana snarled and practically slammed the 2 plates she was holding on the table, glaring daggers at Matthew.
What in the 7 hells was that about?
I think you scared him a little, Diana. Diana! As Diana took a step forward, Matthew suddenly shook his head and realized who was approaching him and who he essentially attacked, causing him to step back and place his hands in front of him.
Whoa! Whoa, hold on!
Yeah, I guess I'll defend Matthew. I quickly reacted, not wanting Diana and Matthew to start fighting. Yeah, definitely don't want that. Besides, Diana took us by surprise. Matthew couldn't have known. I mean, she did catch us off by surprise, but I really don't understand why he's just throwing daggers, but okay. I rushed over and placed myself between Matthew and Diana, holding my arms out to stop her. Diana, hold on! Diana stopped and glared down at me, now turning her frustrations towards me.
What?
This is a big misunderstanding. I opened my mouth to speak before Matthew rushed around me and pressed his hands together, bowing his head.
I'm sorry. I didn't know it was you. I thought it was an attacker and...
An attacker in my home? They would be dead before they even set foot through the gates!
Oh, wow, okay. It's getting a little awkward. I looked to Matthew, seeing him grit his teeth and press his hands together hard, trying to gain some form of forgiveness from the succubus who seemed to want his throat cut open. Diana snarled quietly before slapping his hands away and gripping his chin, making him stare up at her.
The next time you dare to attack me will be the last time you feel your heart beating in your chest.
Damn, okay, alright. With a threatening scowl, Diana pushed Matthew back and away from her, causing her to turn away and walk towards the exit of the room. I, however, rushed to Matthew, catching him before he tripped on his own feet.
Eat, then get to training. Don't waste time.
Well, alright then, that was fun while it lasted. Diana finally left, leaving me and Matthew lost in our own space once again. This time we were awake and aware of what was going on, mildly ashamed of the delusion we placed ourselves in before the sudden surprise from Diana. Matthew rubbed his head, looking to the floor.
Man, I really screwed up.
Well, yeah, kind of, but clearly something's going on with you. But I'll comfort you because you are my love and stuff. I knew that he messed up, but he needed to get himself together and fix his mistakes so he could move on and figure out the problems he already had. I wrapped my arms around him, nuzzling his shoulder. It's all right. I rubbed his shoulders as he rested his forehead against mine.
How the heck do I deserve you?
I merely smiled and kissed his cheek. Because you love me, and I love you. Yeah. With a chuckle, Matthew kissed my cheek in kind, and nodded.
Right.
Yeah. Matthew and I turned to our breakfast and ate what we could, with Matthew taking the plate he managed to attack. The pancakes almost slipped off the knife that was still embedded in the wall, causing Matthew to run and catch it in his empty plate. What the fuck? He didn't eat it and merely left it there, avoiding it like it had some sort of poison on it. Okay. We eventually separated to train, letting the day roll. He didn't eat anything? What the fuck? Maybe demons don't have to eat? I don't know. I trained on my own from the morning to the night, desperate to become better with the skills I had. I managed to take hold of a sword and practice with it, becoming proficient with it. Well, okay. I don't know how you would become a sudden master of a sword in a day. Then again, she didn't say that. I guess you got some skills going on there. I slowly padded back to my room, tired from the day. I needed rest. Fucking Christ, all this sleeping in this game. And I needed the comfort of my bed and Matthew's arms around me as I walked in. However, I took in a sight I did not expect to see. Is he fucking possessed again? God damn it. Oh. No. Matthew held Simon in a full-body chokehold, crushing his body like a stress ball and glaring hard into his beady red eyes. Matthew, what the fuck, man?
I'm gonna rip you apart!
Oh my god! Matthew! I rushed in and grabbed Matthew's hands, prying them apart and letting Simon slip from between them onto the ground. Simon let out a squeak before running out of the room. Matthew, still, for some reason, enraged, took a step, followed him before I slammed my hand onto his shoulder.
Get back here!
Oh, okay. Matthew, this is not working. Something is seriously wrong. Matthew, stop! I gripped hard on Matthew's shoulder, causing him to turn to me and letting me grab his other shoulder. As I got a good look at his eyes gasped at the sight. They're gold. His eyes were full of rage and anger as he panted in place. Whatever Simon did really made him go off the edge, or something was influencing him again. Oh, are they not gold? I suddenly became afraid, shaking underneath his gaze. Every fiber of my body completely began to spaz out as I became locked in his angry glare. What was happening to me? I opened my mouth to try and speak, but not a sound would dare come out of my vocal cords. It was like I was too frightened to press him or stop him. As Matthew continued to pant for air and stare at me, something in his mind slowly melted, causing his eyes to slowly widen in realization of what he had done and what he was about to do to Simon. Okay, Matthew, we really gotta talk about this man. This whole keeping it a secret is not working. You're going crazy. Like, every time I see you now, you're almost killing somebody. The strange hold on my body faded away as his muscles relaxed, trying to breathe and regain control of whatever had clouded his judgment. As it finally became apparent that he had returned to sanity, Matthew's eyes began to droop in sadness.
What am I doing?
You are trying to kill people is what you're doing. Just being honest. Matthew pulled away from me, placing his hands between us, and stepped back, staring at me in deep regret. I tried to step forward to try and comfort him, but he raised a hand to stop me, walking slowly over to the bed and sitting down, grasping his head.
Something happened to me.
Yeah,
I
a lot
don't
of
know
things have
what.
been happening to you. I frowned as I slowly moved and sat next to him. In shame, Matthew covered his face with his hands and curled over his knees, digging his fingers into his forehead.
I keep hearing my mother's voice telling me to come home and save her. Whenever I do, I completely lose control
Okay,
of myself.
well, mommy issues. We
when
gotta
I
fix
did
that.
It, why I did it, but I always managed to do something wrong.
I grimaced, remembering the random attack on Diana. I placed my hand on his shoulder as he shuddered and shook his head again.
I gotta fix this.
Yeah.
There's gotta be some way to stop it from happening to me.
That's what I'm hoping for. Matthew. It was painful to see him struggling. Still, I couldn't understand why he had to fight this alone. Why not get the others to help? Matthew let out a sigh and slumped his shoulders further.
And let them help me? Like they've always done?
Yes, that's what family and friends do. Yes. As Matthew turned to me, I could practically see the shame in his eyes as he spoke.
Every time I was in trouble, they'd always come and help. Every time I do something, I'm treated like a damn kid.
Okay, well, it has nothing to do with you being a kid. It has more to do with something seriously going on with you and an issue happening here, and it needs to be fixed, and you're clearly not capable of doing it by yourself. So, Matthew turned his head away and gritted his teeth, forming fists and laying them on his knees, tightening them in aggravation.
There's a reason why I didn't ask them to help with the wedding. I don't want them
Ah,
babying
come
me
on, man.
and doing everything like I'm some sort of stupid moron
Fuck.
who needs everything done for him.
Okay,
I want
alright.
to do this on my own. I can figure this out without their help. I'm not even the youngest, but they still treat me like I am, even Damien. I don't want
Okay,
that anymore.
could you not have this crisis with something more simple like the wedding? Like, okay, the wedding, great. This has to do with our lives. So let's not have this crisis with this issue and get some fucking help. I was speechless. Speechless. Yeah. Because I can't talk. Did Matthew really feel that kind of pressure from his brothers? My mind went back to the first day I had met them, how Eric treated Matthew like a little boy despite Matthew being close to his age. As the grimace of realization appeared on my lips, Matthew let out a shaky sigh.
I can't ask for their help.
Well then, fuck you! I'm gonna ask for their help. Matthew, god damn it! Oh, do I want to hug him or take his hand? Hug him? What the fuck kind of question is that? I felt terrible for Matthew. He definitely acted like a kid, but it seemed like only I remembered that he wasn't one. After all, I had been with this man for over 2 years of my life. You probably remember that he is not a kid. Never mind, I'm not gonna go there. No, don't do that, Ashley. I wrapped my arms around him, hugging me to him and making him gasp in surprise.
Huh?
Wait, what? Oh, never mind. I buried my face in his shoulder, silently apologizing to him with a soft kiss on his neck. Slowly, Matthew wrapped his arms around me as well, taking in a breath and relaxing once more within my arms. A peaceful moment of silence passed between us before Matthew softly pulled away and looked me in the eyes.
I don't understand why you like me at all, you know?
'Cause you're cute, and you're nice, and stuff. I don't know. Why do people like anyone? What? Confused, I stared into Matthew's eyes, trying to find the origin of where his statement came from. Matthew, however, took my hands and grasped them in his, looking down at them.
I love you so much. But I'm not mature like James or the others. I don't understand at all how someone
Well-
like me could be remotely likable.
Not everyone wants someone like that. Everyone has different tastes, Matthew. Come on. Stop. I glared, not wanting him to degrade himself. As he looked back up at me, he flinched at my stare, but I needed to get him to see that I loved him and cared for him for every part of him. It didn't matter that he wasn't like his brothers. He was mine, and I loved him. Yeah, obviously, if I wanted that, I would have gone for your other brothers. That came out wrong, but you know what I mean. I squeezed his hands, locking his gaze to mine. I love you for you, Matthew. I don't care what your brothers act like or how you're not like them. I don't care. I fell in love with you, not them. Yeah, that's pretty much what I was trying to say, but I said it worse. Matthew remained silent, staring deep into my eyes and taking in everything that I was saying with a broken but hopeful gaze. He really cared about me, and I didn't want to hurt me, but I didn't want him to hurt either. Whatever this is, whatever thing is trying to control you, we'll fix this, but don't you dare degrade yourself like that. Kiss him. Mwah, love you, bae. At last, I leaned forward and pressed my lips to his, locking his to mine in a loving kiss. Matthew stared wide-eyed before very slowly closing his eyes and melting into the lip lock. Ah, wonderful. I wanted to show him how strong and wonderful he was. I fell in love with him, not just for his childish side, but how he made me feel with every part of him. He was very much an adult when I was locked in his arm and drowned in his kisses constantly. Yeah. I was so lucky to have him as mine, and I wanted to remind him of that with every part of me, mind, body, and soul. Oh, man, okay. I was not expecting that quick transition. Okay, maybe I was, but then I stopped expecting it. Now you just throw it in my face. Alright. It's gonna get awkward. Awkward. Okay. Jesus. I slowly slid my legs over his lap, straddling his hips, and made the kiss between us deeper, relishing in the feelings that were burning between us. I promised the last time I skipped over this shit that I was gonna read it. I promised it, so now I gotta do it. Matthew slowly drew his hands up my sides and wrapped them around me, hugging me to his chest almost possessively and making me gasp against his lips. Okay. He was getting the idea I was happy with that my message was clear enough to understand. He was mine and I was his. We would support and hold on to each other forever, and nothing would separate us. My clothes were slowly stripped off my body, Matthew taking his time and looking at every inch of my body as it became exposed. I would shyly show him, but happily allow him to indulge and ravish me as he desired, if he craved it. This is great. This is interesting. A flash of gold passed over his eyes as he finally grasped the back of my neck and kissed me passionately. I couldn't help. God damn it. Oh, man. No, Ashley, you promised. You promised. Jesus Christ. I couldn't help but moan against his lips, feeling his free hand dance around each curve of my body as his enthrallment slowly eased itself into my core, warming my soul in love and need. Hey, there you are, Matthew. I couldn't stop myself from grinding against my incubus. That's a weird way to put it. Needing him to undress himself and let us make love like I desired, like we both desired. Matthew slightly smirked against my lips before turning us over and staring at me.
You're so beautiful.
Thanks, man. That's real nice. I felt my body warm at his words, making me distracted as Matthew began to run his hands all over my body, leaving no inch of skin unexplored and unconquered by his fingers or lips. I arched my back, pressing my head back to the pillow beneath my head, and let out a loving sigh and moan with each pleasureful touch he placed on me. This was truly heaven. Okay. This was... never mind. Nope. I was so lost that I barely noticed him stripping as well and hovering over me, finally allowing us to become one. As we did, the world around me became lost. I only could see Matthew and he could only see me. This is great. We would become lost in each other's eyes as we wrapped each other in pleasure and love, climbing through our carnal ecstasy and chanting each other's names like two prayers in sweet harmony. What the fuck? My hands guided themselves around Matthew's body, feeling the slight sweat layered over his soft skin as I dragged my nails over his back. From the pleasureful hiss that erupted from him, I could tell that he enjoyed that and would pay back in kind. How long is this going to last? Our lovemaking soon became rapid and heated, unrelenting in its crescendo towards a beautiful and hot climax. Wow. These are wonderful words. We drove through it together, uncaring of who would hear our cries and screams of love. They're probably all standing out there like, dear God, sound like wild fucking animals in there. Before slowly easing into a gentle and feather-like afterglow. Matthew and I held on to each other, lost within the embrace between us, and euphoric in our emotions. I was so happy to have him in my arms, causing me to pull him closer to me and cuddle against him. So if I hadn't have kissed him, would we not have had sex? Or would we have still had sex? I don't know. Matthew laughed a bit before kissing me softly and nuzzling my forehead with his. I love you, Matthew. Thank you for that wonderful good times. We remained there, taking in the sounds of our synchronized breathing and letting our hearts eventually beat as one. That's so romantic. We'd get through this. We would. Okay, thank God. Alright. I told you guys I would read it next time I read it. It wasn't too bad, but it's still fucking awkward. Sleeping that night filled us with determination for the next day. Hopefully we'd actually do something instead of sleeping. I was hopeful, rooting that everything was going to be alright, but then I had a nightmare. Of course, not everything turns out the way we want. Nightmare. No, okay, good. The morning came at last, rousing me from my sleep. Surprisingly, I was full of energy, ready to go and take on the day's training. However, I quickly realized that I was alone. Oh, Matthew already left? Huh? Matthew? I sat up and looked around, not seeing him anywhere in the room. Or he crept into my mind. What if he left to do something he was influenced to do? What if he tried to figure out a way to force the influence out of him? Oh, there he is. I gripped my bedsheet to remove it from my body when I looked up to see the door swing open, revealing Matthew holding 2 plates of food for me. Oh, okay.
Good morning!
Wow! Damn, you're all happy. I became dumbstruck. Matthew? What was up with him, and why was he up so early? He wasn't exactly an early bird. Matthew grinned as he walked over and presented a plate of delicious-looking fruit, eggs, bacon, toast, and pancakes. That's a lot of food for one person, man. My mouth went agape at the mere sight and smell, and I slowly took it from Matthew's hands. Matthew, when did you make this?
This morning, duh! When else would I have been able to make it?
Okay, that's sweet. I looked up at him. He seemed very happy and cheerful despite everything that happened the night before. Did he manage to drive out? No, you had sex. You were there. Were you not there? Is it not natural to be happy after that? As I noticed the dark circle under his eyes, I could tell that the night had become somewhat of a struggle, so maybe that was indeed the case. Oh, never mind. Still, something in my gut pressed me to be cautious. Something wasn't entirely right about this situation, even though seeing Matthew being happy made me happy too. I slowly began to dig in, savoring every delicious bite and almost forgetting my worries about it. Wow, this is amazing! Matthew let out a happy sigh and nodded.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna go to training now.
Okay. I suddenly shook my head, trying to take in what he had just said. He was going to training now? I looked at him as he began to turn around, holding out an arm for him. Whoa, hold on there.
Bye!
Okay. Bye? Despite my protest, Matthew left the room, practically skipping out of it. What the hell? Something was now definitely wrong. I lowered my plate and stood, racing towards the door, but was stopped by Diana, who was about to step in. Ah!
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey. Were you spying on us again? Diana looked me up and down before looking at the plate of food I had left on my bed and looking at the plates of food she had in her hand. Obviously meant for me and Matthew.
When did you...
Matthew. I shook my head. Diana didn't know Matthew was making me food? I became more and more worried. Diana stepped in and placed her plates on the nearby table, crossing her arms in concern.
All right. Do you now wish to tell me what is going on?
I can definitely try, honestly. It's a long story. I don't know how to start this, but, I mean... I naturally bit my lip. I couldn't tell her, but something about this warning me that whatever was influencing Matthew could have gotten worse. I began to internally panic, but I kept a look. Just fucking tell her, come on. Matthew just made me breakfast, that's all.
When was this?
Oh my fucking god. I grimaced, looking away. Apparently, this morning. Anna shook her head and pressed her fingers into her temples, slowly exhaling an irritated sigh.
That boy is seriously concerning me now.
Yeah, me too. If only I could just tell you. Don't call him a boy? Why the fuck would I get pissed at that? I mean, I know he doesn't like being treated like a kid, but I have people call me, a child all the time. I'm like fucking 22. I don't care. Something needed to be explained, and Diana was probably the best person to figure it out. Diana crossed her arms and let out a sigh.
Regardless, I'll have people watch over him. If he does anything out of the ordinary, I will be the first to know.
Okay. You do that. Diana gave me a hard stare for a moment before turning and leaving the room. I became torn. Matthew didn't want help, but it seemed like he very much needed it. Yes, he needs it. He needs it. What if this was all something I was over it? No! What? You literally saw him gazing into the pits of the fire like a fucking zombie. What? Oh my god. Okay. He's literally been telling you all this shit. What do you mean overreacting? What if he was hiding something virtually important? Oh my god. I gripped my head and shook it. Stop it, calm down. This bitch. That's right, I had to calm down first. This wasn't gonna be easy, but the truth would come out one way or another. Yes. I ate my food and prepared for the day, praying that I would not hear of Matthew killing someone. What the fuck? I slowly became more comfortable with the sword and began to do more tricks. I became more agile, more aware of my surroundings as I continued to slice through a training dummy I decided to call Mal. Okay. I don't know why, but the name felt right for it. Oh god, what's happening now? I quickly walked to my room, wanting to make it there before Matthew. As I turned the corner to the hall my room was in, however, a large number of shouts God, Matthew, what are you doing now?
Grab him! Don't let him get away!
What the fuck?
Let go of me!
Ah, God. Every time I turned around, Matthew. I stared wide-eyed as guards rushed into my bedroom and dragged Matthew out by his arms. I was even more surprised to see him slightly battered and covered in blood. What? I took a step forward to rush in and see what was going on, but a hand stopped me and pulled me back. I looked over and stared at Sam grip my shoulder. Hey, my other favorite guy, glaring ahead at his brother. Sam, what's going on?
Matthew did something really...
Oh, God. If you would have just said something, this could have been avoided. Ripping Sam's hand from my shoulder, I turned around and glared, almost snarling in anger. What do you mean? What did he do? Sam looked at me, unfazed by my anger, and walked forward ahead of me, following the group of soldiers and Matthew down the hall. I did the same, now desperate to know what was going on. Oh, God. Oh, God. As we arrived at the Great Hall, Matthew was tossed into the center of the room, where Rabbit had constructed a large magic circle. As Matthew fell to his hands and knees on it, the circle activated and formed a large barrier around him. Okay. Frantic, Matthew rushed at the walls, slamming into them to hopefully be set free. He even formed multiple knives and tried to tear through the walls, only ending up with them ricocheting and landing on the floor.
Release me! No!
Oh, wow, okay, that's a little scary. Matthew! I rushed forward trying to touch the barrier, but was forcibly pulled back by Irene and Iridissa. Those are really weird names. I just can't help it. I can't get over that. I flailed in their arms, struggling against their hold, but became still as Diana entered the room with a large, bloody handkerchief in her hand. Oh, God.
You come into my castle, eat my
Matthew,
food,
why?
rest in my rooms, and have the utter gall to kill one of my guards and try to steal war plans.
What the fuck? No, it couldn't have been. Yes, it definitely was. What the fuck is wrong with you? You literally saw him try to kill his own pet. I stared at Matthew as he locked eyes with Diana, sneering, and pressed up against the barrier.
Well, well, well. If it isn't the Queen of the Rebellion. I gotta tell you, you look like crap.
My
after all these
God.
years.
He has to have split personality. I don't fucking understand. Diana's face remained stone cold as she pressed the handkerchief to one of the nearby guards and stepped forward, pressing her hand to the barrier.
Lux.
Lux? Oh. On her word, the barrier suddenly began to brighten with lightning, shocking Matthew within it. Is that necessary? Matthew, no! I began to struggle more, wanting this to stop. Soon enough, it did, as Diana pulled her hand away from the barrier and glared into it. Matthew, having been electrocuted, fell to his hands and knees, panting wildly.
I can smell you.
Oh, he is possessed by Satan! I knew it! I froze. Demon Lord? He was behind this? I thought it was his mother, but the Demon Lord? I looked back at Matthew, seeing him chuckle despite being in utter pain.
You figured me out.
Ah, fuck.
You may have locked me away in my castle, but my bond to my blood is unbreakable.
Matthew pounced off of the ground and slammed into the barrier wall, grinning from ear to ear at Diana.
And when you come, I will be ready. I know all of your little plans, and will make sure that I completely destroy your precious army.
Oh, this is too much, ma'am. This is too much.
Once I do, I'll make Zakeru my heir, and
no!
finally take over the rest of this godforsaken plane for good.
Don't do that. This time, however, Diana smirked and tapped the barrier between Matthew's eyes, her irises brightening to a sadistic gold color.
And this is where you fail in war, Demon Lord. Who said we ever wrote anything down about our plans?
Matthew stared, astonished at Diana, before snarling madly.
You're lying!
Oh,
Test me,
wow.
Mongrel. I will prove it on the day we lay siege upon your pathetic castle and dominate your puny army.
This is very stressful. It's really stressful on me as a human here, and this is just too much. Despite how twisted the situation was, the rebel leaders and guards in the room began to nod and smirk at Matthew in agreement with Diana's words. Diana, however, pressed her face against the barrier.
And I swear to you, this war will end with you dying by the hands of a succubus.
Okay. The guards around Diana cheered as Matthew continued to glare hard at Diana, clawing at the barrier wall to try and get to her to no avail. Diana straightened back up and scoffed.
As for your son, we'll need to do a little surgery.
Okay. Is this gonna be bad for him? Cause he's still my husband. We haven't married yet, but surgery? I pulled at Irene's in her hand, staring at Diana like she was a madwoman. Surgery? What the hell did she mean? Ah, fuck. Without another word, Diana placed her hand on the barrier and sent another wave of electric shocks into the barrier before Matthew finally passed out entirely. No! At last, Erdebedebe and Irene, I got the fucking name, Iridissa, They released me, letting me rush forward and kneel at the barrier, pressing my hands against it and peering in to see Matthew lying unconscious on the floor. I looked up at Diana as she turned and glared at her. Why did you do that? Diana glared back at me before turning away from me, crossing her arms.
Why did you hide this from me?
I wanted to tell you, but the game wouldn't let me. God. No, I deserve an explanation. As Diana turned back to me at my explosion, I felt my body instantly froze in fear underneath her sudden golden gaze.
And one of my men deserves not to be dead.
This is stupid.
This boy managed to lose control to whatever has been possessing him and killed one of my top-ranking officers in order to find my decoy battle plans.
Yeah, that happened. I should have told you like I wanted to. I let it sink in. Matthew had killed someone. The influence on him really forced him to kill someone. You fucking knew that was gonna happen! I couldn't believe it. Oh my god. As Diana released me from her enthrallment, I buckled to my hands and knees, panting for air. This bitch is really stupid.
Was hiding this worth it? Was his precious prize truly worth the life of one of my men?
No, it wasn't. It was not. I shut my eyes, knowing how wrong the situation was. Matthew was trying. He was fighting to stop whatever was taking control of him. He needed to do it on his own. No. No! However, before I could think of speaking back, James and Sam stepped forward in front of me, blocking me from Diana.
Give him Diana. He wasn't in control of himself.
And now you're defending him?
Oh my god, this situation.
Shut the fuck up! I don't understand what he's been through.
Sam! Love you, man.
And I don't care! One of my men is dead because of him! Controlled or not, it was his hands that took his life. No amount of pride can justify that.
Alright then, okay. The brothers silenced themselves as I took everything in. Matthew had killed someone. The brothers understood, and Diana had essentially been betrayed. Part of me screamed that this was all my fault. Yes, it is. I didn't open my mouth to fix this. No, you didn't. I didn't let anyone know that Matthew was going through. No, you didn't. However... Oh my god! However, Matthew was desperate to do this himself, even though he failed in the end. I lowered my head to the ground, gritting my teeth and trying to stop myself from crying. Carrie and Twilla rushed at my side, wrapping their arms over me in an attempt to comfort me, but I couldn't feel anything but despair for what was going on. Apologize? Yes, you should have fucking told her! In the end, this was entirely my fault. I didn't speak up when I should have, and now Matthew was in a cage of sorts, waiting to go through some form of surgery to fix him. I gripped the ground and looked up at Diana, tears flowing from my eyes. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry for what happened. Everything was my fault. I began to break down, feeling Carrie and Twila fully wrap their arms around me in an attempt to calm down. Still, I felt horrid, disgusting. The death of one man was entirely because of my silence, yes. Silence lingered in the room as Diana continued to bore her eyes into my soul. At last, Diana let out an irritated sigh.
Enough. We need to figure out how to break this hold the Demon Lord has on him.
Yeah, and we could have done this earlier. Everyone in the room seemed to agree. I read my face and slowly stood, agreeing as well, and now ready to fix what had happened. Diana looked at the guards over her shoulder and barked orders.
A chair, a bucket of sweet flowers, and a knife.
Oh dear God. The soldiers nodded and saluted their queen before rushing off. Diana shook her head and placed her hands on the barrier.
What on earth could have made the control so strong?
Dude, I don't fucking know.
His mother.
Oh yeah, that's a thing, yep. Everyone looked at Damien, seeing him look intensely at his fallen brother with worry.
I can hear her voice, pleading with him to wake up. She keeps apologizing for making him do what he did.
Damn it.
So his mother is to blame?
No. The Demon Lord is still the one who made him do what he did. The mother was a weakness of his, and only amplified his control.
Diana sneered at Matthew's unconscious body as the soldiers from before rushed in and placed the chair beside her, and the bucket beside it. Diana slowly sat down and crossed her legs, holding out her hand and feeling a knife being placed into it by a third guard.
We need to figure out how to block his mind from the Demon Lord's control. Once we do that, we can try to dispel it, while the Demon Lord's power isn't using Matthew's energy.
Taking a purple peach-shaped fruit from the large basket, Diana began to peel it and slice it open, revealing a black center. However, her focus remained on Matthew.
It will take me some time, but I think I can manage it.
Okay.
Are you sure?
I am.
What is happening?
Everyone may go and...
Oops, I accidentally skipped that. Everyone slowly nodded and began to leave the room. I, however, stood still, not wanting to leave Matthew alone. As Diana noticed me, she glared softly.
Go to your room and rest.
Once again,
I will come
I've
if
been
something
resting
happens.
so much. Oh my god. Her words were venomous, warning me of the thin line I was walking across. As she placed a fruit slice in her mouth, I conceded defeat and left the room, staring at Matthew in utter worry before I exited. Ah, God. That night, I slept alone. I was filled with different emotions. Worry, sadness, anger, betrayal, horror. Everything mixed and danced within me as I let out a heavy sigh. This would be a long night. I was barely able to eat or leave my room the following 2 days. I stayed in my room trying to calm down and take everything in. Matthew was a prisoner and Diana had to pull the control out of him somehow. It's been 2 days? Fuck. How was she going to do that? I couldn't be sure, but I was certain that this was going to be a large challenge, especially since the Demon Lord was involved. The other wives visited me, helping me eat and go through what I had trained. However, my mind focused on Matthew. I was worried sick for him. I wanted him to be free, and I wanted him to be okay. I knew that this wasn't the case for the moment, but I knew that it had to happen eventually. After all, we were a day away from marching to the siege. I gripped my hair and closed my eyes, trying to remember if there was anything I did to help stop the control. I was there for him, but it slowly dawned on me. I was there for him. His love for me was what kept him focused. I was there each time he lost control, and I managed to bring him down from that. It was something, a risky something, but something nonetheless.
Like to understand when you're